Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Vamsi Duvvuri, TMT AI Leader for Ernst & Young, EY. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Vijay Kotu, the Chief Analytics Officer of ServiceNow. Vijay, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, Vamsi. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So you talked about two spectrums. You talked about local optimization for processes that are as is and go optimize those. And then there's a global optimization scenario where you can come up with new processes. Is there a middle ground where you can take an existing process and say, I still need the inputs and the outputs of the process, but help me figure out how should I do it in a different way? So the process remains the same, but you don't have to go through the 17 steps. Does Agentic AI and the things that you bring to market help with that as well?
Absolutely. So that is the promise of Agentic AI. It's a non-deterministic way of solving it rather than a deterministic way of solving it. So let me explain with an example, right? If there is a request or an incident or a case or coming in, and prior to Agentic AI, we would have hard coded a process there.
Right.
They would have a decision, if then case, etc., that is incorporated. So this looks like a convoluted flowchart essentially, right? Flowchart is best looking when you start it, right? But when you run the process many times, you can see it's taking all the direction there.
Yeah.
And that's where the clue of some of the things lies. These are determinants. We have asked the process to go this particular way, and most likely it goes in that way. And maybe there's a better way to solve it. And better way to solve it is going to be thinking through, oh, should I just invoke that particular task? Might be task number 7 first versus task number 3 that I'm supposed to invoke, right? And okay, try it out and see if it is a faster result. So we can run an experiment around it and see if this is a faster result. So these are the different ways that we can execute, and this is a non-deterministic way of executing it. There are some, like any technology, there are some rewards here. So you can seek some global optimization. There are some risks as well, because you don't want that process to go on haywire, right? So there are some controls that we can put in place so the risks are mitigated. But absolutely, there would be a better way to solve this process, and a non-deterministic execution can help in that case.
Got it. That was a really good example and makes it clear that planning and orchestrating those tasks within a process is something an agentic AI, an AI agent should be able to do, obviously with the right governance and with the right trust and the right data.
That's right.
Thank you. Let's switch gears. We've talked a lot about what leaders can do today, how AI and agentic AI helps. Maybe, some advice and some outlook, for the future. So let's imagine that I'm an executive, a leader who's either just starting their AI journey or maybe accelerating it in a different direction. What should I be focusing on right now?
If you're a leader starting out in this space, first of all, congratulations. You are in one of the most exciting space that we can ever imagine. So this is fantastic, great opportunity. I would say 2 things. Number 1, this business, for us to succeed in this data analytics and AI world, it's still based on relationships.
Mhm.
End of the day, we are in the service of the rest of the organization. And that could be product teams, sales teams, marketing teams, finance, executives, doesn't matter. We are in the service of those people. And for this to work, they should trust the outcomes that we are providing.
Mhm.
Also, for that, relationships matter, right? We are also in a position to help advise, steer the organizations as well. And I think that's a great privilege. And for that to work, again, trust, relationships, and history of good work matters as well, right? So one builds on another.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it's also, we will have to frame our work in value. So anything that we do, and we talked about AI getting measured in 5 things, and the most important, probably the most difficult, is value measurement.
Mhm.
So we would need to frame our work in the value that we are adding for the organization. I think it's so important, and that brings more relevance for the
Mhm.
business that we are in. So relationships and value, and that brings in trust that we can establish within the company.
Maybe a quick follow up on that. Were there instances where trust was broken that you recall that could have been easily avoided by focusing on relationships? Maybe a story, maybe a specific instance where people forgot to focus on the relationships of the users, what you talked about earlier, and hence trust was broken. Does any example come to mind?
Yeah, so I'll give a generic example on this one.
Sure.
No one would like to be surprised, right? Simple things. No one would like to be surprised. And how do we bring people along in the journey, even if when you disagree on fundamental, let's say, assumptions that are made? That's okay, right?
Mhm.
Modern organizations have hundreds and thousands, and maybe in some organizations, hundreds of the thousands of people along. So it's important to bring people along and give enough context so that we can establish trust rather than, boom, here's my analysis with assumptions of not being provided. And that is probably not the best way for us to establish that trust with our stakeholders.
That's so true, and what you just shared reminds me of what I just read on one of the platforms. Was the purpose of AI is not to replace conversations, is to have more conversations. And that kind of definitely stuck with me, because that's the point: is how can I take the mundane work and all the heavy lifting, and give that to AI so I can connect with you as an executive leader, customer, client, and have that conversation with trust and confidence.
Absolutely. I think well said. And by the way, the business problems remains the same. The business model remains the same, right? AI is one way to solve that, a profoundly new way, an interesting and promising way to solve many of the same business problems. In some cases, it solves a new business problem, but let's get started with the foundational way. You talked about more conversations. I would say even better conversation, even more informed conversations. And you can say, hey, this particular business trend is going this way. We projected it. It's going to go, these assumptions is going to go in a different way. What are we doing to fix it? So the actions is very similar to what it was like if we rewind back the same scenario 10 years ago. It's just we didn't
Right.
have that projection. We didn't have additional data set, but the actions would have been very similar. So it's same actions we're doing with better conversations, with better data, with better predictions, with better information.
Absolutely. Well said. Now, I know your time is very precious, so I want to be respectful of your time. Maybe one last question. As you think about how far we have come in the last few years, especially now with generative AI and agentic AI, what excites you most about the next 5 to 10 years?
A great question. I would not be able to predict with a great sense of certainty on this one because just looking at the past, no one would have imagined the effect of the impact of AI in the last few years, 3 years, let's say, right? Because AI has been there forever, and it's been kind of a proto life of AI started hundreds of years ago in someone predicting whether a ship is going to come back or not, and that formed insurance company, Lloyd's Insurance Company, and slowly it started, etc. But where we are right now, it's truly a really huge inflection point, and that is going to only accelerate and continue, right? So what's most exciting for me is for us to be not just in the front seat as this technology is unfolding and creating the impact in the business, in the day humanity is getting getting impacted. We are getting new capabilities that we never had before. So that is really exciting. It's not just in the front seat, but also we kind of in the driver's seat in many front as well, for us to shape this forward. And the ultimate objective is such a great technology. My objective, the ones that makes me very excited, is how do we leverage this technology responsibly? And we have that opportunity to do that. And that privilege is what it's really exciting for me to be in this moment when technology and the business and also our entire human experience is also getting affected with AI.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think that in the last 30, 40 years, we've gone from very large computers that used to be in big buildings to personal computers to mobile phones, internet, and now, AI. Super excited about what's to come, but your point is well taken, which is you got to be able to do that with trust, for the people that we serve, responsibly, to make the change in the world. Vijay, thanks again for such an engaging conversation and joining us today. For more interviews and insights, please visit cdomagazine.tech.